Today, our verse is Galatians 1, verse 10. For am I now seeking the approval of man or of God? Or am I trying to please man? If I were still trying to please man, I would not be a servant of Christ. Two key words are essential for understanding our verse. The word peitho, which means to persuade or to convince, and the second word is aresko, which means to strive to please or seek favor. The literal Greek translation of our verse is, am I now persuading men or God? Or do I seek to please men? If I were still pleasing men, I would not be the servant of Christ. What does Paul mean by pleasing man or winning the approval of men? The word peito gives a clue to what Paul is referring to. Persuasion was an art of rhetoric which speakers at the time used to win people to their discourse or speech. We need to remember that Paul, before his conversion, was an ardent follower of the law and did everything to persuade people to follow the law. That was the reason he persecuted the early church. At that point, as an ardent follower of the law, Paul acted to attract praise. When he encountered Jesus Christ, his perception of the law changed. The servant or follower of Christ does not act outwardly to attract praise or admiration. So Paul was no longer acting to win the approval of human beings. Instead, he was only concerned about the approval of God and to please God. Then he concludes that if he were still trying to please people, he would not be a servant of Christ. Paul highlights that those who seek honor or the approval of human beings are not genuine servants of Christ. There are a few lessons for us to learn from this verse. First, that one can use persuasive words or rhetoric does not necessarily mean that a person is preaching the right message of Christ. We see so many people doing that today. Sometimes to persuade the speaker may garnish the speech with some falsehood. The second lesson is, there seems to be the problem today within Christendom where people, especially church leaders, in seeking honor and praise, enter into unhealthy competition. In some instances, people blackmail others. If one genuinely preaches the gospel, he would not need to blackmail others in order to rise to the top. That would mean pleasing men and not doing the will of God. Jesus was not interested in pleasing people. He was not interested in numbers. When Jesus saw that he was gaining popularity in a place, he would move to some other place where he would preach to people, and places where he was less known. Look at Mark chapter 1, verse 37 to 38, or Luke chapter 4, verse 42 to 43. Finally, we must be careful that we do not do things to attract attention or attract praise wherever we are, in the house, at places of work. Let us do things always for the glory of God. Lord, all I need is your affirmation. Remove far from me the temptation to seek praise from men or human beings. Amen. And I wish you a lovely day. God bless you.